Hello and welcome to the Ticket Booth. Now showing Smile 2, our first movie that kind of just came out recently. Uh, as always, I'm Blake. Got Cam returning for the third time.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah. How's it feel? It's your third time being on the podcast. I think, at this point, you just surpassed Caroline in terms of guests. She had two, now you have three. So, are you
Feels good. Feels good. I trained real hard for this moment. Uh,
Are you enjoying? Are you enjoying this? You like doing
yeah,
this?
yeah. It's pretty fun.
Uh, so yeah, we watched Smile 2. We really debated a bunch of different movies, or at least me. I was kind of going through all the different movies. I thought about Ghostbusters Afterlife. I thought about Mr. Harrigan's Phone. It's What's Inside. Just all kinds of movies. And then I saw that Smile 2 went to streaming. Oh, again with this freaking thing right here. Um, Smile 2 went to streaming on Amazon Prime, but you had to rent it. And I was like, should I rent it? And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's just go ahead and get it so that it could be fresh. It's still fresh. Everybody's still talking about it. So why not just go ahead? And sure enough, Cam has never seen Smile 1.
Yeah, first time. Usually I've seen it and you haven't
Yeah.
seen it, or
Uh,
neither of us have seen it.
I saw Smile 1 and I thought, I wanted to see Smile 2. I wanted to talk about something that we both haven't seen on top of Salem's Lot since we didn't see that. But uh, I mean, I would say before spoilers go in, aside from how the entity in this movie works, and aside from the opening scene, and maybe you can vouch for this, you don't really need to know the first movie to understand this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he had to tell me the rules, but they go over the rules again in this movie.
Yeah, like
So
it's
it's pretty disconnected sequel.
yeah, and all the roles are pretty much also self-explanatory, aside from like a few vague sort of things. But as always, when you guys watch this podcast, just know that there are going to be spoilers. So if you do want to watch Smile 2, I suggest go watching that. It's on Amazon Prime right now for about $20 to rent, uh, or it might still be in theaters. I'm not too sure. But you can go watch that. Once you watch it, come back and watch this. So let's just get into it. Spoilers ahead. Also, as always, not really filtering too much. So if you like my other grim grinning host stuff, and you're like, oh, this guy is family friendly, I still kind of am, just not as much on this one. So just want to forewarn you. So yeah, so we open up Smile 2 with if you've seen the first one, we have Joel. He's back, played by I can't think of his name for some reason. I had it I had it right here. Kyle Gallner. That's who it is. You might recognize Kyle Gallner. I don't know if you recognized him from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Who was he in that?
He was the main guy, like the kid, the teenager. He like swam and stuff. He jumped in the water and
The
he came out.
2010 movie?
Yeah, the one that
Oh, yeah, the
reboot.
one that was kind of weird.
Yeah, and remember he jumps in the water in the pool and then he comes back out and he's in the dream world.
Yeah, and he's
That's
at the factory or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
same guy. Also, he's also in Scream, the what is it? Scream 5 when we first get like Jenna Ortega and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's Scream 5.
He was the guy that got killed. He was kind of like the redneck that got out of the car, and he was like wearing the cutoff.
Actually, you
flannel.
know what? I think that was Scream 6.
No.
Scream
Was it?
6 was in New York, I think. And then Scream 5 was
Yeah,
when
no.
first got Jenna and Tara.
In that one, Kyle Gallner's in one of those. He gets killed fairly quickly.
He's a Sean Bean.
Yeah, so we see Joel played by Kyle Gallner. He's back, and as we know, at the end of Smile 1, he now has the possession, the entity, the curse, whatever you guys want to call it, and he's trying to beat it by killing some other guy that's a murderer. Like there's two dudes that he found people who deserve it because he's still a good guy, so he doesn't want to kill just some random person.
Like two gang members or something
Yeah.
to sell drugs.
He says like they killed a woman or something like that, so it's not whatever. So he kills one of the dudes, gets out, and as one thing that I saw, when he got the curse.
Well, you need to tell the rules. That way
Yeah.
people don't know.
I will. So basically, the way it works is if whoever has the curse, it gets passed down by I'm pretty sure it's by traumatic events like a death, like that, like it's specifically that. So, for example, for Joel, the main character, I'm blanking on her name from the first one. She had the curse, goes through the whole movie trying to survive it. Joel's trying to help her, and at the end, the smile demon, the entity, whatever you want to call it, possesses her, and she kills herself in front of Joel, therefore possessing Joel or cursing Joel. So it's by him seeing that now he has the curse. So basically, a way to survive that is if you kill somebody else in front of somebody else. So now that person has experienced a traumatic event that you caused, you've killed somebody. So now that person that watched you do that now has the curse and you are free. So he does that. He finds these two lowlifes, and as he's going up to the house that they're in, he passes one of the the entity's hallucinations, because it does make you hallucinate a lot, and he hallucinates the main character from the last one, which was his ex-girlfriend.
So that means this had to be like a week.
It said 6 days later.
Oh, so it wasn't a full week. So he
No.
had 7 days. So he had one more day.
I don't know if the 7 days thing is like an actual thing. I can't remember.
Well, week is 7 days. Monday.
Well,
to
I
Sunday.
don't know if like it actually was like after a week. I think he made it the longest, aside from the guy that survived. I'm pretty sure out of everybody that we know of, he survived the longest without being possessed. So
well, and if you didn't get Scary Movie, he would have also been a survivor.
Yeah, so he's walking up to the house, and you can kind of see that, you see the hallucination of his ex-girlfriend, the main character from the Smile 1. She's standing there burning, in flames and stuff, and that's how she died in the first one. That's how she killed herself, doused herself with gasoline and lit herself on fire. And he's just not phased. To 6 days in, he does not care.
After seeing how some of these people die, I would probably rather burn to death.
Really?
Yeah, like than bash my face in with a
really
barbell.
Okay, hold on.
Or shove a mic in my eye.
Okay, hold on. I just want to go ahead and that's what you would rather do. I don't know, dude. I feel like some of those are instantaneous. I don't know if I'd want to burn to death.
Dude, smashing your face to death till you die is not instantaneous. Neither is like shoving a mic in your. That's the only ones I saw. I mean, I didn't see the first one, so I don't know all the deaths in that. But I mean, it still wasn't as bad as like I would still rather be in this movie than in like Saw or Hostel.
Oh yeah.
Or Terrifier.
Dude, oh yeah. Or no, you know what? You know what I think was worse than all of them? What? Hellraiser.
Oh yeah, Hellraiser.
So yeah. But anyway, so he goes inside of the house, and he's got a gun up to one of the guys, and there's the other guy sitting there. They're like, crime, like mobsters, whatever you want to call them. And he slices the first dude's throat.
Yeah, he murders him. He stabs him and like guts him basically. Because I'm pretty sure he drives the knife up to the guy's like throat and then does a T.
Well, the guy that was watching takes out a gun and shoots Joel, and Joel, who also has a gun, shoots him.
Which was kind of.
But I guess you kind of had to do what you got to do.
Well, no, but what's the point if he's worried about dying, or if he's going to die anyways? Why is he? And he wants to pass this on. Why did he shoot the guy back? Like, I didn't get that. Why did he shoot back? Just run. He got shot anyway, so it's not like it mattered. He shot back.
But he shoots the guy that was watching and ultimately kills him. So he's freaking out. He's like trying to keep him. He's like, no, stay alive. But because if that dude dies, Joel still has the curse. And sure enough, that dude dies. And he's thinking, I just ruined everything. But he turns around and he sees this other guy. His name is Lewis. Now, I forget the actor's name, but you won't recognize him, but I recognize him from You on Netflix. He's in the most recent season. That's pretty much all I've seen him in. But he looks over and he sees Lewis, who's just standing there like all afraid, and he's like, you could see Joel like did not care about the first two guys. He was like, oh yeah, I'm passing the curse to you. I don't really give a fuck. But he sees Lewis and he keeps saying like, I'm sorry. This was not for you. This is not what I wanted to happen. And it kind of looks like he's hesitating. Like, to me, it looked like he was about to shoot him. And the way that I took that, if he really was like debating shooting him or not, it seemed to me like he was debating shooting him so that he wouldn't have to deal with what Joel is having to deal with now. Some sort of remorse for it. But ultimately, he's like, nah, I'm getting out of here. So he goes to walk out the front door. More gangsters show up and they're like, who are you? And they start shooting. So then he runs out, jumps out the window, and in the, I don't like this. And literally, out of nowhere,
Scary
just,
movie.
yeah, just gets hit by a car. I don't think that was no. I don't know.
I hate the car stuff. It's so cliche.
It's not even just for that. It's just for the fact that he was such an integral part to the first movie that, and that, I don't know.
And it's like, to me, it's just stupid because they were on like a residential street. So there's no way the car was going fast enough to like do what it did.
That car was booking it, dude. You saw how fast that car was going.
I don't think it was like, it just isn't realistic.
And the damage it left behind too, that thing was booking it.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think it would actually do that if you got,
Yeah.
but
it's
a movie, so
yeah, it kills him. Like, like straight up, there is no, I don't even think was there a body?
Yeah, there was. I saw it. It's like you saw it. He was like, basically, I guess he was drug underneath the truck, and then it just pulled all of them apart, like from like probably here down. I guess this is the sternum or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. You saw guts and legs and stuff.
I think that this would have been a good movie, and like, I mean, it was still a decent movie, but I feel like a good direction for this movie could have been Joel as a main character, and it be just a duology. Is that an actual word? Like, not a trilogy, but 2 movies, and that's it.
I think it's just a sequel.
Yeah, I just felt like 2 movies, and then the second movie with Joel just being he goes through it, trying everything he can, and then they ended off with he actually beats it. But they went a different direction, and it's fine. All right, there's a couple.
No happy endings with this.
Yeah, no. This movie really does. It really does mind fuck you. Like it is. This is. You're questioning everything during this, but
this is just like what's that one that came out around the same time? It Follows.
Oh yeah,
they're kind of similar.
So there are actually 2 movies that included that I can draw comparisons to. It Follows and Truth or Dare, which I'll explain Truth or Dare, like why I make that comparison.
And you said too, while we were watching it, we're gonna watch this next week. But you said it could be like The Thing too.
Yes, so The Thing is confirmed. We are watching. I know and
it's gonna the original Kurt Russell's in it. I think
there's
John Carpenter's Thing.
There's another one.
There's it's a prequel, reboot, or requel. It's terrible. It's awful. It's all CGI.
Oh, is that the one where his stomach
2011.
Opens up and they eat it?
No, well, that happens in the original. The requel basically just does, but the original is all like practical.
Okay.
Everything, but the new one, the requel's like CGI, and it's not good.
At the end of every episode, we've always said like, "Oh, we're gonna watch this movie," or maybe we'll watch this movie. We never actually watched that movie at the end, but for next week, we are gonna watch The Thing.
I'm adamant. I'm adamant. I want him to see The Thing.
I told Cam we would
because he's never seen it, and I just want him to see, like, just witness that.
So, yeah, I made the comparison to The Thing because a lot of this movie is trying to figure out what's real and what's not. The main character's talking to somebody, and you're like, "Oh, is this actually real?" Where in The Thing, I drew the comparison because it's like, "Oh, is this person that I'm talking to The Thing, or is it the actual person?"
Yeah, because it doesn't manipulate like your area around you, but it'll make you think like you don't know who's actually who.
Yeah. So,
fun fact, I feel like this is way off topic, but I feel like Among Us is kind of like spiritual video game for The Thing.
Oh yeah. There was actually I think like a PlayStation 2 game though for The Thing.
I know there was, but I'm saying a popular game, not.
Yeah. So yeah, after Joel dies, we cut to a clip from the Drew Barrymore show, and it's we got this singer named Sky Riley, who's the guest on this episode, played by Naomi Scott. That name, Scott. Naomi Scott. Is that how you say it? Naomi?
I don't know her name. Is it N-Y?
Naomi.
There's
Naomi. She was in Lemonade Mouth. That's all I know. She was in Lemonade Mouth and something else. I can't remember. Jesus. one of my favorite Disney movies. That's what it is. She was at. Oh gosh, I just destroyed this. She was Jasmine in the live action Aladdin.
Really?
Yeah, she played Jasmine.
I thought Jasmine was played by like a Arab girl or something.
I mean, I don't know what ethnicity she is, but yes, she.
She looked white.
Okay, we got that done. So yeah, she's on the Drew Barrymore show and she's talking about how she used to battle with drugs and alcohol, and she was
Drugs.
Drugs.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing. Just
want to repeat me.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
There's a bug on the wall that keeps distracting me.
He's on drugs.
Shut up.
Keep going.
So though, and she was also in a car accident recently that killed, I guess, her ex-boyfriend. His name is Paul Hudson, played by Ray Nicholson, who is actually Jack Nicholson's son, which you didn't know. You didn't say he looked like.
No, he doesn't look any.
I saw kind of a resemblance, but so we get to see all that, and she's talking about like how she's overcoming that, and she's doing pretty well, and she's about to go on tour.
How does she treat her problems with drugs?
Jesus Christ!
With more what? More drugs.
Oh, I guess yeah. Well, I wouldn't call. I thought you were going to talk about the water.
Oh yeah,
she's
deep
oh
throat
my
water.
God.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, she swallows a whole. She goes. She
Multiple
literally when
times.
she drinks it, you're just like when you wake up at 2 a.m, thirsty. That's how she's drinking that water. She's like,
go, yeah, and like
Jesus
a whole bottle of
Christ.
wine. The whole movie.
She does it like 6 times. Too.
Yeah. And we didn't know what it was, but eventually she talks about how when she went to rehab or whatever, they said that if you get the feeling you want to do drugs, or you know,
if you feel like you need to do drugs, just take these drugs.
Yeah,
you know,
or drink alcohol to drink a glass of water.
Oh, I thought you said like the psychiatrist was like, if you don't want to do drugs, just drink alcohol.
Easy fix.
Yeah,
you know, just. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you obviously, God, I'm not smoking weed. I'm, shooting H. That's all.
Yeah. So then after the Drew Barrymore show, we cut to her. She's like in her apartment or something, and we get Naomi Scott is British, I believe, and we get a British slip up. It was kind of funny. What did she say?
I don't remember what she said.
It's okay, or something like that.
Who is it? That's what she said. Something like that.
I don't know.
It gave me. I said it gave me the Henry Cavill vibes when he was Superman. And he had Batman in Batman. I think it was it Batman v Superman or was it?
Yeah.
Was it? No, it wasn't Batman v Superman because they brought him. It was Justice League.
Do you bleed?
Yeah, that was Justice League.
Are you
do
sure?
you bleed? Batman said, "Do you bleed?" in Batman v Superman.
Yeah,
and then he says, but when he comes up, he's like, "Do you bleed?" It's like super gent.
She goes, "What is it?" That's what it is. They barge in. She goes, "What is it?"
Her voice completely changes.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
You would think they would just cast Americans to play Americans, but
I feel like the rest of the movie she had no other slip ups. Like I wouldn't have thought that she was British.
I know. I just always wondered that. Like, why are there so many British actors?
I don't know. But then another nice thing about this movie that they did that they don't do a lot for other movies that aren't musicals, but like they actually wrote songs that actually weren't. I mean, I wouldn't listen to these songs.
Yeah, like baby, got your license to drive. got your license to drive
me.
Yeah. That wasn't in there.
No, that's the Boys.
Yeah, that's the Boys.
But no, so like these songs, like they actually wrote for real songs that I'd probably hear on the radio, and they're kind of catchy, but I wouldn't listen to them myself. But I just thought that was pretty cool because you don't really see that in just regular movies nowadays, unless they're like musicals or something. And I also found that the camera work was pretty good. There's a lot of like one shot type things where I need to find a better way to hold this notebook.
We're getting a table.
Yes. Like you notice how like, especially whenever she goes later to Lewis's apartment, how like it would show her and the camera would pan over and then it'd pan back. And it's like, it was just one shot.
Or yeah, it would do that with another scene too when they're in the car.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, so the camera work I thought was good. And then, so she's at rehearsal dancing, and stuff. Some pretty interesting dancing, especially the part where you saw the part where she like goes stiff and they're like flipping her upside down and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Looking, that was pretty funny. But she hurts her back, and we see her scar. She's got a scar on her back from the car accident, and she wants some Vicodin. And she can't get any Vicodin from like pharmacies or anything like that because of her drug use in the past. So she goes to an old high school friend named Lewis, who we saw earlier with Joel, um, who deals drugs. So she texts him, "Hey, can I come over?" Because she wants to get some Vicodin.
You know, one thing I have wonder about the movie, was she getting Vicodin from that guy the whole time? Because she said her doctor or nobody, all they won't even prescribe her.
Yeah, because you saw multiple times in her text threads. She
Oh
kept
yeah,
saying,
so she
"Can I
must have
come
been
over?
getting
Can I come
Vicodin
over?"
from him.
Mm-hmm.
So never mind, the doctor didn't prescribe more drugs. He just prescribed water and
Yeah.
then charged her thousands of dollars after that.
Yeah. So basically, she goes over there, and after he texts back and says he gives like the star eyes emoji and then a thumbs up emoji. So she goes over there.
Yeah, he's really
Yeah,
excited.
and oh, he seems to love her. Like it was very weird. But then he like throws her up against the wall and puts a katana up against her
Yeah.
neck.
Of
Like who just
everything.
has
You
a
know,
katana?
most people would have like a gun or something there, or maybe a knife or a baseball bat, but this dude has a katana.
Well, I mean, he seemed very eccentric, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like being the drug dealer kind of drug addict guy. I mean, it makes sense. He snorts a line of coke. I don't really think
Maybe he's splitting his lines with the katana.
yeah. So he starts freaking out and he starts saying, "Oh, I don't remember sending that text." He goes, "Something crazy is going on. Do you believe in the supernatural?" Blah blah. Blah. Just, Sky is like, "What the hell's going on?" So he's like, "Oh, you know what? You're Sky Riley," because she's like this big pop star now. She seems to be like one of those breakout pop stars. I didn't get the vibe that she's like Taylor Swift level, where she's like, you know, already super famous. It
I don't
seems
know.
like, I mean, she's super famous, but I don't get the vibe that she's been like super famous for a long time. This seems like a brand new thing.
Oh yeah.
And she's like kind of like Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, that's
or
what I was
Olivia
gonna
Rodrigo.
say. She's like
They
some,
just
like
popped
young.
up.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, let me go get that." So he goes to his back room. She sits down and sees the line of coke, and then it looks like she's about to think about it, but then she gets a news story on the TV that talks about her and how she used to have a drug problem, and then she turns it off and notices Lewis still isn't back, and then so she goes in there to go look for him. She's like, "Lewis," or whatever, and then does he just come out?
Yeah, he just comes out. He's like freaking out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's freaking out, and then he like falls down to the ground and
And
starts
he
like
sees something.
yeah, you can see he sees something, and he's like then he falls and like starts gasping for air, and it looks like he dies. But then he looks over at her and smiles. He smile twos.
That's what we were calling the. Is
Like,
that
oh,
smile? Is
oh
that
God, smile
too?
two got him.
Yeah, smile. Is that smile right there?
So then he stands up and in front of her takes a what's it called?
A barbell.
Yeah, that's what I thought it
Or
was.
like a weight, just like a weight you put
For
on
a
for like a bench press or something.
Yeah. And he just smashes his face in, and boy, this movie is gross. This movie's kind of this.
I can't wait till we watch Terrifier Man.
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
think it was that bad. I was
This
like,
movie proves to me that I don't know if I could handle things like I don't
yeah.
even know how I can.
Every
handle,
time it would be like, ugh, and I would just be like, just sitting there like, Blake, come on. I would be asking how this or that happened. Like, so he smashes his face in with the barbell. He like just bangs his face against with the barbell, and then it's like his face is all smashed, like his nose being cracked out and all that looks normal, but like his like cheek was like hanging, like his skin of his cheek. It would be one thing if his jaw was broken, but like how was his cheek just hanging down? Like did it cut him or something? I mean, it's a flat barbell, so that's what was going through my head when I saw it. Blake was like, "Oh, that's disgusting."
yeah,
I don't know. We're just two different. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little more desensitized to it, I guess.
which is weird because I watched The Walking Dead perfectly fine. Like I watched Glenn's.
Yeah, but The
Death
Walking Dead's
perfectly
not too
fine.
bad.
Like Glenn's death, like I mean, it's bad. I've watched that perfectly fine. I don't know. I don't know what it was about this specific.
Maybe you were a kid. I mean, maybe when you were a kid, you were tougher.
I don't know. But so she sees him do that, and then she throws up, and then I thought that was going to be important, but it wasn't. But so she vomits, and then she just leaves, right? She just leaves. Yeah, she goes home.
Yeah, she
And
just leaves. She was gonna call 911, but she didn't because they saw drug. Which I was just thinking, they could test her to see if she had drugs in her system, because it'll be obvious he killed himself because they could, check fingerprints on the. They'll see the damn barbell. Or
But I
whatever it
feel
is.
like,
Her
and
weight is.
this is part of the thing where I feel like she still likes being in the spotlight at this point. Like, I feel like it's a gradual. She's not liking being in the spotlight the more and more the movie progresses, and I feel like at that point it wasn't about whether or not the police would think that she did drugs. It was more so about that story is gonna get out.
Yeah, she was worried about getting caught being at a drug dealer's
bad
house.
publicity and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I mean, I heard bad publicity is good publicity, or all publicity is
Not
good
for
publicity.
her. I don't think for her, especially with her, because they make it very. They really make it a point to tell us that her past, like drug abuse, that was something that kind of, because she was supposed to go on a tour, I believe.
Yeah, but every singer now is a druggie,
I guess.
but
But yeah, so she goes back to her apartment and this is the first time we see her with that damn water. She fucking downs a whole
it's like
water.
one of those
Voss.
That's what that
Voss
is.
water.
That brand. It's
Yeah.
like it's in that. It's huge.
And we thought
And
it was
she just
liquor.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, is she down in a bottle of like vodka or something? And then I saw, it don't got no neck on it. It's just a flat top. So it was that water bottle. I'm like, Jesus, was it that bad?
And she's alone in this big ass apartment, and you were like, I'd need a dog or something.
Yeah,
I couldn't be alone at all.
Yeah, I would need a dog. I would cause I could be alone, but I would want a dog. But I have 2 dogs, so I couldn't be by myself like that.
But it's kind of crazy how quickly the hallucinations and like the entity latches onto her, because this maybe an hour after this all happens, she's laying in bed and she sees a hallucination of Lewis standing there with his cheek falling off again.
She keeps seeing Lewis.
From the beginning.
Which this is another thing for me. This movie was not scary to me. Like, I think it's meant to more be like shocking, or like, mind, like, I guess, would it be psychological horror?
Yes, I believe that we could consider it that.
But to me, like, I don't know, just seeing him, I just wouldn't, like, I'm like, Blake, this would be like if you were standing behind me, like, all messed up. I would be like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, that's what I would say. I wouldn't think anything of it. You look ugly.
So she sees him, and then we cut to she's getting makeup done, and she's kind of snapping at her manager, which we later find out is her mom. Like halfway through the movie, she just calls her mom, and it's like, oh, I feel like that could have been established way earlier. Maybe it was, and I just didn't catch it.
Yeah, that probably was. We probably didn't catch it. Something
but
small.
It was funny.
We were kind of cutting up during this movie, so.
Yeah. So it was funny though, because then this guy named Darius walks in. I'm not sure who he was in relation to her.
He's like the record label guy.
Oh, he was?
He's like, yeah, he's the one who was like planning everything and all that
Okay,
stuff.
so she's her manager. He's the record label like owner, whatever. And he walks in. He hugs Sky's mom, and then she's got this little assistant named Joshua. And Joshua, I have like this weird hatred for. Just like I did that one little fucking kid in Salem's Lot. Just a weird, I couldn't explain it, but I'll tell you why. I figured
was it
out.
the kid in Salem's Lot, or was it the kid in
Salem's Lot? It was the Salem's Lot, because he goes to the author guy goes to the school, and she's like, oh, my name is.
Oh, that kid, yeah. I thought you were gonna say Mr.
I've seemed to just hate. Well,
Mr. Wilkins.
That's fine.
Son.
Mr. Wilkins' son is like okay to hate. He's supposed to be hateable, but like this guy, I don't know. There was something about him, and I figured it out like towards the end of the movie. And
What was it?
I'll tell you when it gets.
What was it about him?
Shut up. I'll tell you when we get there. So he comes in, and Darius hugs Sky's mom, and then Joshua, her little assistant, goes, "Hey, Darius," and tries to hug him, and then Darius pushes past him. It's funny. He's got some flowers in his hand, and he starts talking to Sky about, "Oh, I want you to do this event, and I want you to speak at this event."
Hope for children or something.
Yeah, it was like some
Hope
sort of
for young musicians or something.
Yeah, like it was some sort of thing to just like endorse young musicians and stuff like that. But she agrees to do that, and then they get her in her costume fitting. and then that's the costume that she's wearing is kind of sheer, like right here in the midriff. It's not open, but it's just like a thin thing, and you could
If
see
lights on it, it's see through.
Yeah, you could see her scar, I guess, from her surgery or something from the car accident. She's very
She was in a car accident.
yeah, she's
I think you said that already,
Yeah.
but just reiterating in case we didn't.
in the
She was in a
past.
car accident because she was high with her boyfriend, and then it reveals more, and we'll get
Yeah.
into that as we go.
But she's insecure about her scar, and she says, "Well, I'm not wearing this costume." Now it's at this point I'm gonna just go ahead and say, me and Cam, like towards the end of this movie, it really gets to the point where it's like we don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah,
And
this is where I was saying I think it's like,
this is the point in the movie where we're like, is this where everything's like not
but
real anymore?
but then again, that was like them test fitting that suit, so it might not have been then.
I don't know.
It might have just been like she blacked out at the hospital,
We'll figure it out.
and then the entity took over at that point, so it was just controlling her until she got to the concert.
Yeah. So after this, she's at a meet and greet where with a bunch of fans, and the first we get a couple like fans that come up, and they're all different varieties of fans, just regular fans that want her to check out his SoundCloud, a fan that sings to her one of her songs, and then we get Alfredo.
Yeah, Alfredo. Now, here's my thing about Alfredo. Go ahead and tell them who Alfredo is, and then I'll ask my question because I know you like to narrate what happened.
By all means, go ahead.
Okay, Alfredo's like this weird stalker guy, and he's like, he's got like a skin rash and all that. Like he's basically typical like weird, obsessive guy. And he has her sign his shirt, and then he's talking to her, and he's like, "Oh, you look like you're unhappy inside. If we were together, I can make you happy, this and that." Now, I wonder
He starts talking about how she has perfect skin.
Yeah, and I wonder how, like, so later on, it's a hallucination, but it's of him, and it's like she sees his clothes just stripped down in her hallway, and he's got, for some reason, the entity decided to give him shit stained underwear, so he has shit stained tighty whities. And she looks up, and he's just naked in the foreground, and he runs after her. But I'm wondering, was he real at the signing? Was that actually a crazy stalker? But the entity used that later on in her apartment? I think he was real because he wasn't smiling the whole time or anything.
No, he wasn't.
I think he was real. I think the entity just
honestly, I was about to say I think he was because everybody else reacted to him. But
Oh,
then
yeah, that's
again,
true.
Towards the end, everybody was reacting to a lot of things that weren't real. So I don't know.
Well, no, because all that wasn't real. That whole hallucination was fake. That whole
Exactly.
event
But
was
what
fake.
if this specific interaction was fake?
I don't think so. I don't think the signings were fake.
Well, no, I'm not saying the signings, but this specific interaction with this.
Where she
specific
met
person.
the crazy guy?
Yeah, maybe that wasn't real, and she
Maybe.
just imagined that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell what's real and what's not.
I don't think so, though, because then it literally shows a little smile girl.
Yeah,
right
I would.
after.
Yeah,
So
I would go. ahead
I think he was real, and I think the entity saw him, and then
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck with this guy."
So so they get the guy away from her, and she goes, takes a second and goes behind like this curtain, drinks another full bottle of water, and then she comes back out, and there's this little girl that smiles, that's doing this,
She does the little
doing the smile too at her.
yeah I'm sure y'all have probably seen or heard her smile. It's just like weird, like Kubrick. It's like the Kubrick stare.
Kubrick stare.
Yeah, like the Kubrick stare with a smile.
Oh, Ray Nicholson's in this. Jack Nicholson's son. I keep saying that, but I just the Kubrick stare with the. Okay.
What's some famous lines Jack Nicholson said? I know Here's John.
Here's John. Okay, never mind.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah. So basically, she goes back out, and there's this little girl who's smiling at her. She's not responding. It's kind of creeping Sky out. She doesn't really know what's happening at this point. And she signs that little girl's shirt. And then
Just some scribbles. Like her signature looks like just. I don't know if you heard me, but whenever she was signing, I was just like, little girl. If I was a kid and that happened, that was the signature. I'd be like, "Gee, thanks for the scribbles.
yeah.
Well, thanks for scraggling on my shirt."
Yeah, so then we cut to her. She's back at her apartment, and she is drinking more water. And she calls her friend, and her friend's name's Gemma. She had a falling out with Gemma recently because
A
a year ago because she was being a dick because she was hopped up on drugs.
Drugs. Yeah, she was real big into drugs.
And so she
Her
calls
favorite pastime.
she calls Gemma, and Gemma's like answers and is like, it's been a minute. I'll come over and Sky's wanting to apologize. So while Gemma says she'll be over there in a little bit, so then Sky now sees what Cam was talking about earlier. She sees the clothes. Well, first she starts playing a song on the piano, and then she hears something smash.
And then you said, "I wonder if the piano could be Smile."
Oh yeah, I wonder if piano could be Smile too.
Yeah.
But then she hears something smash, and it was like a vase or something that fell over, and she gets the broom. This is important. She goes to this closet and gets this broom, and when she returns back to where the vase was broken, she sees somewhere else. She sees the yellow shirt that she signed for Alfredo. And then next, she puts the broom down and looks into this little hallway and sees the pants, and then sees the jacket, and then sees the shit-stained underwear from Alfredo.
Yeah, she looks down.
Yeah, then she looks down the hallway, and it's dark in the hallway, and on the other side of the hallway, she sees a naked Alfredo. Like,
yeah,
turn the brightness
the underwear
up.
Of Alfredo. Then when she looks down the hallway, she sees the naked Alfredo.
Yeah,
a wild Alfredo appeared,
and then it starts chasing after her. So then
then it starts chasing
Alfredo, and his Alfredo starts chasing after her.
Alfredo and Alfredo Jr.
Alfredo and his little fettuccine starts. So she runs to the door. When she opens it, you can hear the thumping. Shut up. You can hear
him running. Yeah,
yeah.
And Alfredo's like a big guy compared to her.
Oh yeah, but when she opens the door, Gemma's standing there, and like it scares Sky, and she falls down. Turns around, and Alfredo's not there anymore. Neither are the clothes. So Gemma's like, "What's going on?" It's like, this is what in the world's happening? And then Sky looks over and sees that the closet that she opened and left open that had the broom inside of it is now closed. And she looks over, the vase is gone. And then she looks over, and the broom that she sat down is no longer there. So all of that was not real whatsoever. So that...
Well, and there's something else that's not real as well.
Well, let's not spoil it. I know we're spoiling this whole movie, but let's not spoil that yet. But, so she's talking with Gemma, and she's talking about how she hasn't been getting good sleep, and she thinks that she's hallucinating because of that crazy stuff that happened with Lewis, and she thinks that, it's just she's not really understanding what's happening so far in terms of the curse. Like, she doesn't really know what that is, but she thinks that maybe because she saw Lewis kill himself, that she got kind of traumatized from that, hasn't been sleeping, that's causing hallucinations. But she apologizes to what she did to Gemma, and they make up. She's like, "Oh yeah, it's fine. We'll ride or die forever." So she says, "Can you spend the night?" And Gemma's like, "Yeah." So then Sky goes, they just go to bed. That's correct? I'm pretty sure. They go to bed. Sorry, I got something in my eyes.
My contact right now, my left eye is so blurry. Like, I thought when I was watching the movie, I was like, is it just blurry on our projector, or is it my eye? It was blurry on the projector with the text messages, but
yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, no. So I will say Sky tells Gemma about everything that happened with Lewis and was like, "Oh, should I go to the police?" And then Gemma's like, "Absolutely not, because we don't want to get you associated with that bad publicity and stuff like that." I don't know. Gemma just seemed like a good friend at that moment, and but when they go to sleep, we see a little bit more about what happened with the car accident. We see Sky is like upside down in the car, and her leg is broken. And this is when I wrote down that this movie proves that I don't think I can handle Terrifier, because I know that wasn't as bad as Terrifier.
That's what'll make watching Terrifier fun, though.
For you.
Even I was cringing at Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
Even I was like, oh God.
Imagine how I'd be. I'd probably throw up, dude. No wonder people were walking out of Terrifier 2. People were walking out.
I think I saw somebody when I went and saw it with Kareem. I think I saw some people walk out.
Mm-mm. So, she wakes up from her nightmare, and looks over, and Gemma's like, "Are you okay?" But like barely grog because they're like sleeping in this huge.
Yeah, she's got like a freaking triple California king.
It's like a Texas king.
Yeah, yeah, Texas king. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's an actual bed.
a Texas king. It's
Yeah.
got to be. It's
But-
got to be the biggest bed you can get.
But Gemma's sleeping beside her. She's like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "Yeah." And this part, it was kind of hard to hear, but she was basically just talking, like saying things and like confiding in Gemma and stuff. And then Gemma doesn't respond, so she looks over. She's like, "Gemma," and then Gemma like smiles.
Gemma's just like,
Yeah, smiles at her, and then like
stupid smile.
opens her mouth and eyes, and it's lights, like headlights and a horn. So then Sky gets out of bed and like freaks out and turns around, but when she turns around, it's now daylight.
Yeah, it's daytime. So like time is like weird in this movie too.
Yeah, and it tripped me out because we see the bed. Gemma's not in the bed anymore, and that side of the bed is made. So then we're like, was Gemma actually there? But then Gemma's over here now, and she's like, "Oh, I made you some like, what was it, chamomile tea, I think."
Camel or matcha.
Matcha, yeah. She made like I made you
Whatever
some
matcha is, yeah, matcha.
And I was like, geez, that's just trippy. But she is like, "Oh, you slept through the night. It's crazy." But now Sky is late. Sky is late to, what was she late to?
The I think it was the charity thing.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't know. She was late to something. And no, it wasn't. She was late to, there was like some sort of thing at the arena or something like that, because she goes to the arena. Her mom comes and picks her up, and she goes to the arena, and she had actually asked Gemma to go on tour with her, but Gemma was like, "Oh, I've got this thing with my friend or whatever," and blah blah blah.
Have prior obligations.
Yeah. So then Sky goes to the arena. She's in her costume or whatever, and she's going to her dressing room. And no, she goes to rehearse. Is this the part where she breaks her leg again on the?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
she's rehearsing.
Yeah,
doing
she's
a dance
rehearsing
rehearsal.
doing out on stage, and then she she sees her ex-boyfriend standing in front of her, and then she like falls back, and her leg like snaps just like
the same way it was in the car accident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's like freaking out, and everybody gets on stage. She's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she's like, "My fucking leg." And then she looks down, and it's perfectly fine. So she's like, I got to get out of here." So she goes back to her dressing room, and on the way there, she sees that fucking Joshua.
That was just him. That wasn't.
Yeah,
him.
walking past her, going like
yeah,
that,
he's
doing
like
the smile.
smiling weird. He's like power walking like fast.
Yeah, and that was just him.
Yeah, that was just Joshua.
But
I didn't mind Joshua, but you seem to not.
yeah,
like
this is where I put something about Joshua pisses me off. But she walks inside, and her dressing room is a wreck. It's just completely all like mirrors are smashed, things are thrown around, and she freaks out thinking Joshua did something because she just saw Joshua come out of the dressing room. Well, then her mom comes over, and this is the part where we find out it's her mom, because she calls her mom, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of late in the movie, but whatever. It's not a big thing. But so her mom is like, "Are you okay, or are you on drugs again?" She's like, "No, I'm not on drugs. Joshua destroyed my room." And
I
she's
know
like,
you love drugs, so don't lie to me.
"Yeah, I know your doctor said to cure drugs with alcohol, but are you curing alcohol with drugs now?"
It's just an endless cycle until you start mixing them both.
Yeah. So she's like, that's not possible. Joshua did not do this because Joshua was with me the entire time. And Joshua, I'll tell you why I don't. Okay, I'll tell you why later. But
It's a stupid reason.
Probably.
It's such a stupid reason that has nothing to do with
You don't
him.
know what it is.
Yeah, well, you told me.
I didn't.
You said you were like, I think he reminds me of a certain archetype.
Maybe I don't remember what I said, but I'll say it. Maybe you'll. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I remember you saying that.
Okay.
Shoulder to cry on. That'll give you a hint.
So then it's. Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not something. It's something else I put. So then we get the little hope for aspiring musicians and stuff. That little thing. So she's backstage before she goes out to talk to these people, like this party sort of thing, and I just know that was loud in the mic.
Sorry, I was playing with a magnet on the back of the mic.
But she's in the back, and she's texting Gemma, and Gemma's not responding to her text. in this. I don't know what the point was of this, but a fly lands on her cheek and she smacks the fly and like streaks the blood across her face, and then that's like never a thing anymore. It's like,
yeah, it's just like weird little things.
Yeah.
About them.
So
Like just strange things.
so she goes out and she starts talking, and Darius before had told her like, oh, you don't got to think of anything, you just got to get up on stage, you'll have a teleprompter, it'll be written out. So she gets on stage, starts reading the teleprompter, and it's like, hi, I'm Sky Riley and I'm here today. That's it. And it stops, and she's like, she's like, all right, I guess I gotta go off book. So she starts trying to improvise her own speech, and she bombs it. She does not even need the entity. She starts bombing it, talking about, making like bad jokes about, she's like, oh, I hope everybody's enjoying the party. I'm sober, don't worry. And she's like talking about how like, oh, I think she's like, she makes a joke about how she used to snort coke. Like it's bad. It's bad. But then as she starts going kind of crazy and getting like a little amped up, starts yelling, obviously her mental health is deteriorating.
She looks like she's having a mental breakdown.
Yeah. She sees a bunch of people are actually starting to record her. And then she notices that a teleprompter is now moved. So she starts reading a teleprompter. And it's like, oh, and then I have a guest who needs no introduction. Not Ray Nicholson.
Who's Ray Nicholson?
Is
that?
It's the actor.
Yeah, Ray Nicholson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrong. It's just not. It's Paul Hudson. That's his name. She's like, Paul Hudson. So then Ray Nicholson or Paul Hudson, whichever one you want to call him, stands up and he's got the smile. But everybody's like, oh my God, why would you say that? Because Paul Hudson died in the car crash, a year ago or however long it was. And he stands up and he walks up to her and she starts freaking out and like close her eyes and like making these weird like sounds and stuff like that. And then she
what? I don't remember that.
She's like
okay.
But then she opens her eyes and Paul is not there anymore. And because he like walked up on stage. So then she's like looking around and everybody's like kind of freaking out. And then you see this lady come up behind her who's been standing
this
off
old
to the
lady,
side
yeah,
the whole time.
Some random old lady, like
just on stage. She walks over and then it's like you get like this, and the camera's like in front of Sky, and you see the old lady walking up behind her, and then the camera comes around here to the side, and then it's Ray with a jacked up not Ray, fucking Paul with a jacked up bloody face grabs her, but it's actually the old lady, and then freaking Sky RKO's this lady off stage and through a table.
Oh my God,
Cam was like, oh, she beat the curse.
Yeah, she murdered that old lady.
So this whole time, up until this point, she's been getting these texts from this unknown number. The first one was like, were you at Lewis, whatever his last name was,
It's like
night?
Italian, some
yeah,
Figaroli or something like that.
Yeah, Fragoli or something like that.
Fragoli, that's what it was. Fragoli.
And she's like, she doesn't answer, but then she finally answers, and it's a guy saying that she can.
Go on.
So he says he can help her, and he sends her a video that Lewis took. I think he said like 6 days before he died or something like that. I forget exactly.
Yeah, which is weird. Why would Lewis talk to this guy?
What? He said he posted it. But I don't know. Anyways, it's a picture. It's a video of Lewis going through his apartment and then shows like an empty corner and goes, can you see it? But there's nothing there. So the guy, she finally is like, all right, I'll go and talk to you. And this is the point where I think that we could have had Joel. I feel like Joel should have survived. And this should be Joel instead of Morris, who we learned his name is Morris.
Well,
but later.
Yeah. So just keep going.
So she's like at this bar with Morris, and he's saying, oh, my brother was, a victim of Smile 2. And he ripped his jaw off with a crowbar.
And it shows it.
Yeah. Just
real fast. He's like, oh, like that.
So Sky's like, this is crazy, because he says the only way to survive or like destroy the demon is to die outside of the demon. So it's like he proposes that he does something to stop her heart and then resuscitate her, so that now the demon isn't transferred to anymore. She doesn't have it because she's dead. Demon's gone. She's like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that, blah, blah, blah. And she just leaves because people start to notice her at this bar. So then she goes back to her apartment and she's like freaking out. She's, this is like where her mental health really has almost hit rock bottom. Uh, she, one of her stress reliefs is ripping out her hair. That's gross. All I gotta say about that. But she does that, rips out a big chunk of her hair, and then she goes to take some, I guess it's Vicodin, some more pills. Gets upset. She dumps out her purse onto her her bathroom counter. She's got like 7 toothbrushes. I don't know what the point
The
of that was.
guests, if in case you get guests, it's like pillows with our moms, you know.
Yeah. And then she swipes all of it off and then throws. What does she throw through?
She throws her vanity mirror. She has like a little tiny makeup
Oh
mirror.
yeah, and she
And
throws, it
into
her
a
glass shower. And I'm
And
like,
little shards of glass are everywhere. And I'm like, she probably shouldn't get near glass.
yeah. And I'm like, great. Now you're possessed, and you have to fix your shower. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You ruined a perfectly nice shower
when
because
you
you're mad. When you could have just smashed that little mirror.
When you need to de-stress because Smile 2 is after you.
Every time in a horror movie, for some reason, there's always glass. I'm like, why do these people always?
Yeah,
it's
trick or
like-
treat.
Yeah, it's just glass. It's like glass.
Was there any glass in Salem's Lot?
I don't think so, but Salem's Lot was
Damn.
vampires, so they don't need glass. They're
Well, I mean, technically there
vampires.
was glass. There just wasn't broken. You just couldn't see the reflection.
Yeah, they use glass to their advantage.
Yeah, it's like
Glass is like the
we'll say 3 for 3
right
for
next
that
to
one.
the nuclear bomb, man.
Yeah. So then she's like, all right, I guess I'm leaving. So she starts to leave, and as she goes to that hallway again that she saw Alfredo and his fettuccine, and she turns on the light, and there's like a large group of people, and they're all smiling, and then they start coming closer. So then she starts running, and then like falls up against her bed, and then looks, and they're all like Spider-Man posing up against the wall.
Yeah, they're all
now.
piled on top of each other.
And it's funny because
I mean, you can tell this isn't real.
Yeah, this is a
Like
hallucination.
this is like in her mind.
But it's funny because one of the smile demon, I guess they're all the smile demon, but like one of the people had like their hand on top of this one bald guy's head.
Yeah, there's
And
a bald guy in the middle.
Yeah,
and then one
everybody's
of them-
smiling like creepily, but bald dude's just like
It's probably because the hand is on his head, which makes it funny. It's like
it's just
they're like palming his head like a basketball.
and he just looked happy to be there.
Yeah, he's the one guy that's real.
Yeah, hello.
He broke into her apartment. The other ones are fake.
Yeah. So she tries to run, and they all they get her, and they smash her head up against the piano, and then they get her on the ground, and then one of them sticks their entire fist and forearm into her mouth.
Yeah,
And they rip out her hair again. Which,
yeah.
I mean,
And
I
this
don't know.
time when they rip it out, it looks like they're pulling her scalp off.
Yeah. And then it cuts to we see pretty much what happened during the car accident. Basically, she's fighting with her boyfriend. They're both she does a line off of her wrist. I'm pretty sure he's, coked up as well. They're arguing. He calls her psycho, starts, going crazy. They're both going crazy. And then she gets upset and then grabs the wheel and yanks it, and they go off of this cliff. And then she wakes up and she's in this hospital, this private hospital, and with her mom. And her mom's like, in this point, like at this specific scene, is like the real villain. She's talking about how, oh, you've got 2 choices. You can either go up and perform your tour, or you can go to rehab because you're on drugs. And Sky's like trying to prove, like, no, there's something seriously wrong. It's not drugs. I need help. I don't care about the tour. I need you to care about me.
Well, and logic thinking though, she should have said, "Okay, I'll go to rehab," because then that would take a day at least. So that'd give her a day.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, then she could murder somebody in rehab and say she was drug fueled.
Yeah. So then the mom stands up, and this point actually kind of scared me. Like, all the jump scares, they didn't really get me, but it was this specific one. The mom's just talking to her, and then I think Sky said something like, "Oh, you don't care. You don't really care about me." And then the mom, like in this demonic voice, said, I think just repeated what she said, and it was like
It's
loud.
like Mr. Wilkins from The Conjuring 2, the old man, when he's like, my house.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
But it was it actually kind of
Old
got me.
man Wilkins, I think his name was.
Damn.
Bill Wilkins, that was his name.
But so yeah, that part actually kind of got me. But then the mom, who is now the smile too, walks over to this mirror and smashes it.
A mirror, glass.
More glass, yeah. Smashes it and then stabs herself in the throat, stabs herself in the eye, and is like, "Look what you're doing to your mother." And then it falls. So then Sky rips out this ivy, gross, and then runs to the door. But as she gets to the door, she looks in her hand and now she's holding the glass.
She's all bloody.
She's covered in blood and turns around and her mom is on the ground. And it's like, oh shit, she just killed her fucking mom. And sure fucking enough, here comes Joshua. You need anything? Homie opens the door and she slams it. Like, why?
That's not obvious.
How you gonna knock and then open the door? But then this is all right. This is why. This is my reasoning why I don't like Joshua. Not only is he a pick-me for Sky for whatever reason, okay,
He's her assistant.
well,
You're kind of supposed to do whatever your boss tells you.
it's his. I mean, it's his customer. Oh my god, it's his customer service voice. That. What can I get you? Oh, you want a soda? I can do that for you. I can. Ooh, what type of soda do you want? It's like, oh my god, dude. You're her assistant. Talk normal. Like, stop with this. It's like that one. You ever seen that video where it's like I can't remember, but it's like,
well, if you can't remember, how am I gonna know what you're talking about?
I don't know. It's this video where this guy pulls up to the drive-through and they like, oh, they go bippity boppity boo. What can I get for you? And he goes click clackety duck. This is what the fuck I want, or some shit like that. But it's just that fanfare. Just what can I get for you? It's like, oh my god. Like, I just hate the fake niceness. I hate it. But she's like, I'm thirsty. And he goes, oh, I already brought some water. They're inside. She goes, I really want a soda. Can you go get me a soda? Because she's trying to get Joshua away. And he's like, yes, I can get you a soda. What soda do you want? It's like, dude, go. So then he leaves. Sky is like trying to, help her mom, but her mom's like long gone at this point. And she puts on this big hoodie to cover up all the blood stains on her gown, and she leaves. And as she's walking through the lobby, there's a bunch of people, and as she's walking, she gets stopped because there's fucking Joshua. Sky? I mean, she looks over and he's like, is that blood? And she goes, no. Yes, it is. It's like,
yeah, what else is it?
Yeah. And he goes, can I get a doctor? It's like, she's like, shut the fuck up. And it's like, everybody starts crowding her, and she looks at this one security guard. She's like, oh, please help me, please. And she like stumbles forward, but when she does, she grabs his gun and like shoots up into the air.
Yeah, and then she's like, her whole body's like, she shoots. I'm like, what in the world? I mean, God, it's like, it looks big to her, but it ain't that big. It ain't like a freaking Magnum or anything.
So then she leaves. She gets out, and as she's running out, she steps on a glass bottle, and like there's a bunch of shards in her foot, and it's gross.
Yeah, glass bottle.
Yeah, more glass bottle. She's in New York streets, and she runs into Gemma, who just now has coffee.
And yeah.
And Gemma's like, oh, your driver just dropped me off. And she's like, where?
Which, another thing, why would her driver, and then we're probably going to reveal this soon, but why would her driver drop her off?
We'll reveal it. But so she's like, oh, your driver's like down there. And she goes, okay, take me to him, or let me go. And she goes past him and then tells the driver to get out. And the driver won't get out. So then she pulls the gun out on him again. And then
she just robs
Gemma's
him.
like, oh, what's going on? She's like, I'm sorry, I love you, but I really can't. I cannot let me go. And she's like, no, I'm coming with you. So then Gemma's like, you can't drive. So let me get in. So Gemma starts driving, and Sky texts Morris and is like, we're going to do your plan. Send me your location. So then Morris sends the location. So they start driving there.
Staten Island.
Yeah, to Staten Island. And then Gemma's like, oh, do you need a doctor? Because Sky looks at her foot, and there's just a huge chunk of glass in there.
There's a few. There's more than one.
Yeah, she pulls out this huge chunk of glass, and there's still more. But then she wraps it up. And she's like, I really need you to pull over because I don't want to ruin your life anymore. And, I'm already ruining a bunch of lives because, she just killed her mom. And Gemma's like, no, we're in this ride or die. And then she gets a call. She looks. And it's Gemma. She answers the phone, and Gemma is like,
This is the real Gemma,
Yeah.
probably, because it
Oh,
turns
yeah.
out this Gemma we've seen the whole time was the smile
yeah.
demon.
So yeah, Gemma's like, hey, I wasn't even thinking about returning your call, but I listened to your voicemail and I don't know, pretty much like, this is weird. Like, why are you sending me all these text messages? Because Sky's been texting Gemma over and over without a response. And then she looks over at Gemma, or she goes, you didn't spend the night at my house. And Gemma's like, what? And then Sky looks over and Gemma's now smiling at her. So then she hangs up the phone with real Gemma and starts saying like, oh, you do not control me. I'm in control here. And then Gemma's like taunting her and stuff like that. So then she closes her eyes and you kind of just see her face. And then when she opens them, she's now in the driver's seat. So she's like, she kind of gains control of the car, almost crashes, like, no, fuck this. I'm going to go fix this shit. So she goes and drives to Morris's location. It's a Pizza Hut.
An abandoned Pizza Hut.
And he's like, all right, we got to get your body to a low temperature. And she gives him a
It'll
gun.
give him more time.
Yeah. She's like, he said, like, instead of just, 2 minutes of you being dead, we'll have you dead for 9 minutes before I resuscitate you so that we can be sure that it's gone. And she gives him the gun and is like, hey, if I start acting weird, if I start smiling, you need to shoot me. And he's like, okay, fine. So they go in there and he's like setting her up. He has her lay down on this table and he's like, I'm going to inject you with this stuff. You'll die. And then whenever it's time for me to resuscitate you, I got this other shot. It's adrenaline. I'll shoot it into your heart, and then I'll start doing CPR. And before this, he mentioned they're in the freezer of this Pizza Hut. And before this, he puts like the center block in between the door and the wall. He's like, oh, the lock is busted. If it shuts, we won't be able to get out. So she lays down. She's like, all right, I'm ready. And then he walks out and leaves her. But then she looks up and she sees herself hanging from the ceiling. It's herself from the car crash. It unbuckles the seatbelt, starts attacking her, and she's like, Morris, help me, please. And then she can't get Morris to come back, and eventually the smile demon starts putting his thumbs in her mouth. And
As her though. It's
Yeah.
still her.
It's still her. Yeah, it's still her, but like younger her. And then she's like, no, I'm handling this shit. So she bites the smile demon's fingers off. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that hurts the demon, but she does that. The entity backs up and I'm like, oh. So then Sky grabs the syringe and stabs it into her neck, and vision starts going fuzzy, and then the smile demon, like, it starts to come back, and the smile demon's like laughing, and then Sky looks in her hand, the syringe isn't there.
Everything was fake.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that all of this, like Morris was fake, all that stuff, because then Sky runs to the door is shut, and she can't get out, and the smile demon like closes, like break a leg out there, and shuts the door. And then whenever it gets dark, and whenever it opens back up, now Sky's on stage.
At a concert, at the tour.
Yeah, her mom is alive, all this stuff. So it's like, the thing that we're questioning is how much of everything has been fake. We don't really know, but a good majority of this movie so far has been fake. But what I think is whenever she gets knocked out, like by the people in her room, I feel like from that point, like you said, everything in the hospital, the private hospital, up until that point was fake. That's where I think it was.
And that's where the smile, it took her over or something.
Yeah. One of the questions that I had was, what is Sky like to everybody else while she's like,
yeah, because they don't see it. So
yeah, I don't know, but she's now on stage and she's going out and she's like all nervous and stuff like that. And when she gets to the end of the stage, she sees her mom is still alive. She realizes everything was fake, and she sees the entity as her, like a identical, like she's wearing that outfit that had like the sheer where you can see her scar and stuff. She's all made up and stuff, and basically looking at a mirror image of herself, but it's smiling at her. And then it rips open her stomach scar, and this grotesque monster comes out.
I said that was like the thing.
Yeah. Comes out, and it basically like rips open her mouth, and then you get a shot of her on the floor, just like Lewis was, where she's like choking, gasping for air. But then she stands up, Everybody at the crowd is cheering, like, oh yeah. And then she stands up, turns around, and she's smiling.
On the Jumbotron, you see her.
Yes. And now here's one thing that I actually liked. We didn't really see Sky kill herself. Spoiler alert, she kills herself. We didn't really see Sky kill herself, but we saw the audience reaction with audio cues of what she's doing. You can kind of tell she's like bashing the mic into her eye right here, but you just see audience reaction. They like flinch every
Well,
time
you
she
did.
does
I
it.
didn't know that's what she did. I wouldn't have guessed that.
I
thought she was going to try to shove the mic into her throat or something.
Well, you could tell she's killing herself with the mic.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, just kind of seeing the audience's reaction. So yeah, she ultimately dies. That's pretty much the end of the movie. We're left off with everybody witnessing Sky Riley kill herself. So one question you had is, does the entity now spread to everybody, or does it latch onto one singular person?
It's open-ended, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, I heard some theories. They're just theories. I don't think that this actually holds any, weight or like any. I don't think this is actually a thing. But I just thought it was kind of cool, like a cool connection. You've seen Bird Box?
Yeah.
You know how like when they look at whatever it is, then they want to kill themselves or whatever?
Yeah.
What if
they say the Spile Demon is the thing from Bird Box?
Like the reason why is because, yeah, this is like a prequel to Bird Box. I don't think that's true.
I don't think so, yeah.
No, I don't think that's true, but it's kind of cool to think about.
That's like, that would just mean that the demon the whole time could kill anybody that saw it.
Yeah. But I thought that was, it's kind of interesting to think about. But yeah, the connection to Truth or Dare that I was talking about is, you've never seen Truth or Dare, have you?
I know about it. It's like a demon.
It's kind of Smile sort of thing. It's like Truth or Dare, and the only way to get out of it is to either win or, pass it along. But obviously, one way you could do it is the more people, the more time it takes to get back to your turn. So at the end of Truth or Dare, what they do is the main character is like this YouTuber, like with a lot of followers. So she just asks she posts a video of her asking everybody Truth or Dare. Just everybody. So it's like kind of the same. It's like,
yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think it can possess. I don't think it possesses everybody though.
You don't think so?
No, I think it only goes to one person.
I don't know though, because then I feel like if that's how it actually works, then that means the creators would know that's how it works, that it would only be one person. So then, therefore, what's the point of having everybody see it?
Well, maybe it just wants people to.
I guess
likes people seeing that.
I guess if we've got.
I hope it went to. I mean, you probably hope it went to Joshua, but
yeah,
I hope it went to the mom.
God, no, I actually hope it didn't.
Even though, you know what, the mom probably isn't as bad as we saw.
I hope that it didn't go to Joshua. Because if it did, that means Smile 3 is going to be about Joshua, and I just don't know if I can handle that. But yeah, I like the movie. I thought, I'm not going to say Trick or Treat, because I know Trick or Treat is going to be your, like, what you're going to pick. But out of Salem's Lot or this movie, which one did you like more?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
I thought Salem's Lot was like mid.
Yeah. Where would you rate this? Rank one out of 10?
I'd give this a 7.58.
Okay, that's fair.
I wouldn't give it like a perfect score, because there's some things, but it's not like deal breaker or bad. And I never saw the first one, so I can't really.
In comparison to Trick or Treat, where do you put Trick or Treat in terms of 1 out of 10?
Oh, Trick or Treat's like a 10.
Okay.
9.5, 10.
I'll give it a 9.
Trick or Treat's almost a perfect movie.
Almost.
To me. So.
But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I think it was good. I do feel like it might have been a little bit better in the theaters.
And, well, I'd ask you if the first one was better, because generally what I've noticed is most of the time the original is always
a lot of people that I've seen have said that this one is better. To me, I like the first one, but only from the first time I watched it.
Smile's like kind of that one of those where it was a successful modern horror, like Barbarian. And,
it's based off of a short film.
Really? Yeah, because it's like in that vein, like that group. Like, there's like, you got Barbarian was one, like modern horror movies that did relatively well. That Terrifier is one.
One thing that I think people should take note, especially you said Barbarian, and one thing that I think people, filmmakers should take note of is you have movies like Barbarian. Not saying Smile is one of these, But Barbarian does not need a sequel. Leave it alone.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes people just need to leave it alone. Just we have it, enjoy it. Don't do anything else with it.
Yeah. Like Trick or Treat, I couldn't see you doing
No.
a sequel with Trick or Treat. Like, I mean, you
You could,
it's
but
just an anthology.
it would
but
have to be
won't-
more like it couldn't have anything to do with anybody other than maybe Sam.
Well, yeah, Sam would always, because
Yeah.
he's the Halloween spirit thing or whatever, but
He's the
he's
what do they-
the
what do they
mascot on the cover.
I
No,
know.
I'm just,
What do they call Deadpool in the what's
he's the,
what is
God,
it?
what is it? The
I can't-
anchor.
Anchor
Bean?
being. Yeah, he's the
He's
anchor
the
being
anchor
of the
being
trick or
Trick or
treat.
Treat. He's the Trick or Treat Jesus.
But yeah. So I hope you guys like this episode of the Ticket Booth. Next week will for sure, without a doubt, be
I
The
forgot
Thing.
what year it is. I can't remember if it's 19.
The original The Thing.
Yeah,
with
it's like
Kurt
80,
Russell.
1980 something, or
Everybody
1970
knows.
something. I
Kurt
can't remember.
Russell. And yeah, I'm excited
Good
to see
movie.
that.
You're gonna
I've
be.
never
You're
seen it.
gonna have a lot of theories, and there's one big theory that I'll tell you about after we come back next week. That I'll tell you, but at the end, you're gonna be a part of that theory. You're gonna be like, who you'll see.
Okay, I think I know. I think I've heard of it before, but yeah, I'll let you know. But yeah, this has been Ticket Booth. Smile 2. Go watch it for yourselves. It really throws you through a loop there for a little bit. So yeah, anything else you want to say?
No, that's all I got.
All right, and we'll see you next week with The Thing.
Adios.